have you here. Hope you slept well yesterday. And now, for the start of the day, we will have the first speech about the current state of hybrid casual. And for that, we will have a project game design consultant and podcaster from 2.5 Gamers. Please join me welcome Jakub Remiar.
Hello everybody. It will be a little bit of a funky lecture today because I lost my voice, as you can hear. But yeah, let's see. Matej would really like to come, but he's in the US unfortunately. But the good part is that he brought some 2.5 Gamers swag, as you can see here, which there will be questions in the press that whoever answers first correctly can get one of those hoodies, so keep your eyes sharp. And let's, I guess, get to it. This is really one of my favorite ones here because I'm doing this kind of regularly, always something new to learn. So for those who don't know, name's Jakub. We run the gaming podcast with Matej and Felix about mainly mobile game industry, but also some other topics like PC, even app stuff recently. The usual questions, if you could please raise your hand, who listens to the podcast already? Okay, great, thank you. So state of hybrids. Last time I was looking, or not last time, the snapshot I'm bringing here is the one from February, where you can see the February downloads and revenue of these kind of big hybrids that we have on the market, because there's not really like a sensor tower taxonomy or a filter that you can just click in and it tells you like, okay, these are the hybrids. This is mostly like our research or stuff that we see during the reviews and the stuff that we do on the podcast. The good part of this is that there's still a lot of green here, so stuff is still growing, but I also had to take off a lot of games out of the list because they're just not growing or declining. You can see new entrants, but yeah, let's get to it. So mainly the main money driver is still roguelike RPG. This is still Bang Bang Survivor. Some people know it maybe under the name of Tuple Magic. This is the same game basically from the same publisher. Around 70% of revenue is coming from China. It's like RPG tower defense. Then you have Survivor.io, which still goes very, very strong, doing something like 7 million a month in IP revenue. That's all of these numbers are, by the way, without ad revenue, so you can guess that they're like 40 to 50% bigger. There's Zombie.io, there's Zombie Waves, which are all basically Survivor.io lookalikes. Horse vs. Heroes was taken out of the list because they are in a little bit of decline. Then we have Screwgem from Rollick, which is still going super strong, something like 4 million plus in a month. It's one part of those kind of new hybrid casual puzzlers from Rollick that they're doing very good. Screwgem, Twisted Tangle, Seataway, they're getting their pipeline kind of working out very, very steadily. So Rollick is definitely kind of moving into the top of the list with the same place as something like Voodoo or Segames. Then we have Hexasort there, a plugin which is really killing it. Hexasort is currently doing record revenue pretty much every single day, still scaling up. Last year it was, I would say, yeah, scaled up already, but now it's literally doubling down, so it's just going super, super hard. Pocket Champs is kind of going very steadily. The guys from Madbox have a very unique game. No one copied them yet in a scale that kind of makes an impact. Archer is still there. Mob Control is still scaling up, even though it probably won't be the biggest game from Voodoo for now, but let's see. Very, very interesting entrant is All in Whole, which is Homa Games. I'll get to it later, but this is the first time that I have Homa finally in the list because they were a little bit lagging in IP revenue side. But it's pretty much whole IO from Voodoo, taken on a level-based progression. Very, very interesting iteration. And then we have Tower War as the strongest game from Segames, which now both Dreamtale and My Perfect Hotel went to a little bit of decline. Tower War, even though older than both of these, is now scaling up, so that's very positive. Nothing else, unfortunately, in Sega's portfolio for now from IP side. VR Warriors is keeping very stable, I would say, even though it's in a little bit decline in 1 million revenue a month on IP side. Keep in mind that this game is probably making like 80% still through ad revenue. And yeah, Alien Invasion is also kind of keeping steadily. I'll get to it later, as we also have a clone iteration later. Yeah, so what are the trends that we see on the market and that are currently, I would say, the whole thing to kind of look through? So for me, it's definitely one of this kind of a two-phase core with top visualization, which I see many games now kind of going around, where you have literally two steps core gameplay, where there's a visualization on the top part, where it's a side-scrolling kind of environment where your character goes from left to right, and there's no player input, it's just visualization. And then the core itself is somewhere in the bottom. Could be literally anything, we'll get to it. The important part is that if you see the one on the right here, this is Backfight from Voodoo, it's actually coming again from Steam, which is the Backpack Hero. And this mechanic has been iterated in many games recently, whereas it's this kind of an inventory Tetris where your character literally collects stuff and you need to kind of safely order it and even merge it within the backpack. The Steam game is unfortunately quite hardcore because it goes literally into every step of like every single one item here. So the mobile ones are much more streamlined, much more kind of well versed. Again, you have the same phase here where you have the battle phase where you don't do anything, your enemies attack you, and then you have the like sorting phase where you need to decide like which one you want to keep, get back there. But yeah, this was again heavily streamlined by Voodoo to Backfight Heroes. We've seen it also with Bacon's Revenge, where it was pretty much taken this kind of bottom visualization into the tower defense one, similar to Bang Bang. That hasn't scaled up yet. Maybe it will scale up later, I don't know, but it's definitely a trend that we see. And also a big trend is still continuing. Successful games from Steam being very, very fast, very, very frequently translated into mobile boards. Like you have the supermarket simulator trend, which was super popular, then you have like thousands of games if you look into it. And lately, the latest one is from Game Districts, guys from Pakistan, which did 21 million downloads in last 30 days. This was taken last week. So this is the strongest one. But again, it's a successful game from Steam, so what do? You save time on your core because you know the core works, because it works on Steam. It has engagement, it has a fan base, it has pretty much, it's proven. So what do? You take that core and apply metagame progressions from mobile on top. Sorry, that's what's happening. Supercent already has an iteration on this, which is not a supermarket game, but a fast food burger game where you literally need to run fast in the restaurant from the first person perspective. Moving on, Cab Heroes, I would say nearly the biggest game from Voodoo, and by the base of the curve, it will probably be the biggest game from Voodoo soon. It's their new iteration. As you see, the Backfight game, again, we have this kind of top visualization, and then we have this, it's close to mob control, but actually I was told by Voodoo itself, Philip reached out to me, thanks for that. It's not based on mob control because it looks like mob control, where you have these kind of gates mechanics on top. It's actually based on pachinko. If you know the gameplay from Japan, where you have these like machines, these like pinball-based stuff. There's actually a game called Peglin, which is again a Steam game about a goblin that fights in the top and then balls drop from the bottom. Very, very similar. So yeah, they also have like just this gameplay in a separate game. Pause and Collect is the game, but this is the one where they actually very heavily iterated and put again two-step gameplay, top visualization, bottom core, and they change their roguelike machine. And this is the as you can see here, mob control is just 2 million something caps. Heroes is just catching up pretty fast to it, and my guess is they'll catch up to it. Because the ad revenue from this game is really crazy, because what they changed here is this kind of skill randomizer. That's a typical kind of product of roguelike RPGs, mainly hobby. So what happens there is that you level up your character and you choose one of the skills, you move on, get stronger, blah blah blah. This is not how Cab Heroes works. Cab Heroes, actually you have this stupid cap currency, whatever thing, where you get the gates, and you need to pay actually for these skills. And what happens here, that it's stitched with ad because you never have enough points to actually get the skills. So you get stuff like, get all of the skills for one ad, get a specific skill that's very hard for one ad, refresh all of the skills for one ad, and so on and so forth. We counted it with Felix, and I think during one round you have 29 reported video ad placements during just one single run of this game, just for rewarded ads. And keep in mind, these are not giving you power. It's outside of the economy budget, because what these do, they just make you stronger during the run, because you can still die, and there goes your value, goes away. So it's much better and much smarter ad placement than the usual watch an ad, get gold, get soft currency, get hard currency, get money. This is the way to go, and like, in my opinion, this is the strongest iteration of the game, not even the core or top visualization, just the skill randomizer. And my guess is we'll see more of this later down the line. Yeah, moving on with Capybara Go. Capybara Go is again another game that's part of this top visualization bottom core. It's the latest game from Hobby that was global launch on Tuesday, so we'll see what can happen here. It's a little bit of a meta game progression masterpiece, and I'll get to it in like a detailed manner. But I really encourage anyone to just pick it up and play it, because the gameplay itself is very, very easy, very, very trivial, I would say even. And this game is literally based on the meta progression itself, and it's the signature Hobby meta progression like you see here. The important part to notice on this picture is that this is a game that just launched on Tuesday. If you compare it with the game that launched with Survivor.io based on Hobby Pipeline, this bottom row of like pets progression, collectible progression, mounts, artifacts, skins, it was not there. Survivor.io launched just with the 6-slot inventory, which they doubled in next month after release, adding tech points. Because they knew that the spend depth of the game was not enough, as people were just progressing too fast. Here you can see the power of Hobby Pipeline, where pets, of course you have pets in Archero, of course you have pets in Survivor.io, it's pretty much their pipeline and their template. So what they're doing is pretty much getting the systems and the meta progressions for all their previous games and just building on top. Therefore, what they did there is just they changed the core, being this, and then added all their systems they did already. So this way, Hobby can do each consecutive game faster than the previous one, much faster than the competition. Like, in order to code all these systems, it basically took them like 5 years from the days of Archero, and they can use it in every single game. But, and very important, but all of the games needs to follow roguelite RPG template. All of the Hobby games that are following that template are roguelite action RPG. You cannot do like the game that we'll talk later, the whole all-in-all Homa game, which is a level-based progression that's much more similar to the Royal Match. This template won't take it, but again, you can be super fast with your kind of stuff that they have here. Anyway, so here comes the comparison, how these games can work here. As said, visualization on top, no player input, player input then on the bottom in the second phase, and the game continues. So my guess is we'll see more of that, because even here you see that the visualization is pretty much the same. But also here we're kind of fighting later or whatever. But the core itself is in this kind of 1-2 step setup. So my guess is this kind of pacing trend we'll see later, because it's super convenient, especially if you're watching Netflix or doing some other stuff, which these games kind of thrive on. So yeah, we'll see it definitely later. But back to Capybara Go, and now comes the fun part. Here's the quiz. So I'll show a mechanic in Capybara Go. Raise your hand if you know in which game this mechanic is being taken from, and get a hoodie afterwards. We have 4 games to kind of uncover, so let's see. It's pretty hard, by the way. There will be a hint before I say the name, but it will be super obvious now. Nobody?
Is it bingo? Bingo.
No, we go.
Monopoly Go?
Yeah. It's Monopoly Go. Go pick one if you want. Then we have next one.
We are always.
By the way, the one who said Monopoly, feel free to pick the hoodie.
Yeah. Now?
Yeah, now. We have time. Anyone here? Let's take let's take the hint. This is Lucky Defense from 1100%. What they're doing pretty much, and you can see a few more mechanics, they're literally taking like cookie cutter stuff from other games and adding it to their own progression and put like the power of it. Because Happy progression was always kind of the same, but this is the first time I saw that they're actually doing stuff that other people do. Because they've always been the one that innovated. Here we can clearly see that they're taking popular mechanics from other games. Let's continue. Yeah, pretty much social casino. Yeah, you can go. Every social casino pretty much has this mechanic now, and it's this kind of autoplay stuff where instead of you, it's a way for the game to provide you like a short session where you have a lot of accumulated energy, so you increase it to kind of spend it much faster, and then it goes into autoplay. And they're literally taking this from social casino. The answer could be anyone because everybody has the same game. But yeah, as you see, even Monopoly Go, they're looking at stuff that works and adding it into their pipeline. Next one. Yeah, this one is literally about this kind of, let's say, progression setup where you have these, not this one, but this one, like 2 keys per game mode, and they're kind of different. Because each brings kind of different resources. And it's per day. Each of these is, I don't know, 2 or 1 runs per day, and then 2 more for ads. So behind every one of these panels, there's like 2 placements that you're able to consume per day.
Well, it's common for X games like
Rising Kingdom?
Huh?
Rising Kingdom?
This is actually coming for a very specific game because
We are warriors. We are warriors. World class.
sooner. There's like 2 games that are the right answer.
Mushroom Wars.
No, close. It's a little.
One of the tower defenses, or
Louder?
one of the tower defenses.
No, it's not the tower defense. It's actually coming from one Korean game and then one Chinese game that took it like to a different level. Because it important is the UI placement, like within the game UI and progression, and then also the resource budgeting basically is the most important stuff that they did there. Legend of Mushroom. And or what? Someone said it?
No?
Or it was Mushroom Wars, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I told one mushroom.
Someone said it right there.
Oh, Legend of Mushroom, really? So if you said it, I don't know, go pick one. Didn't hear it. Yeah, let's continue. This is one of the mechanics where you literally gamble stats for a currency, and the key here that the more stats unlock, each time you reroll them, all of them reroll, and it's much more expensive if you lock someone with a key to kind of keep the tool. So, and they put it into every single pet they have there. So every single pet is not only giving you power, HP damage, it also has its kind of own progression within this mechanic. Nope.
Quite masterclass.
What?
Is it mushroom again?
Yeah, Legend of Mushroom. You can go pick one.
it's just a Dutch one.
Yeah, this is quite popular, and they iterated it a lot, basically. But we have seen this.
Royal Match has this.
Royal Match also has this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. You can go pick one. Because what I'm kind of showing here is, even Playrix has this, but the important key is the iteration that they did there, because I've seen it with Playrix game, with Township, I've seen it with Legend of Slime, Legend of Mushroom, but here, the guys, instead of going down, because all the time I see them just going down, 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 they actually going 2 floors. And there's one more mechanic that when you go through these, you unhide, you'll have another one, which is super specific. It's this.
Supercells,
Brawl Stars.
Brawl Stars, yeah. It's Star Chess from Brawl Stars was called Busters, where you have each consecutive tab, you can increase the rarity. So they added also into it. So, by the way, who said the other things, feel free to go pick them up now, like, no worries. Yeah, we have one more. Oh yeah, we have one more. Where they
I got one.
Okay. Where they keep this one kind of a auto mining carry, their whole kind of a monetization arsenal is also taken from Legend of Mushroom on a very single scale. By the way, these guys know each other pretty much very familiarly in China because just all friends with each other. I've been there in July. Yeah. And one more we have. What do we have? Oh yeah, this one. This is also taken from Legend of Mushroom, where you have the pad mechanic that they literally did like 1 by 1 there. Works pretty well. Again, not the progression vector, because why not? You can have 10 now instead of 5. Yeah, so finishing this one, I still don't know how the game will do, because it's too early to kind of see the metrics. They're probably doing something like 30k, 40k a day for now for global launch, but since that our global launch numbers are a little bit skewed, they also recalculate. So we'll do a podcast on this one and probably do a very deep dive in like 2 weeks when we see the revenue kind of coming completely. My guess is that, it's going to be very, very interesting on this one first, because if this works out, this is basically the new template that everybody will be copying. As they pretty much took like all the best mechanics from different games, put it into their template, so you're pretty much looking at another hobby template that everybody is copying. This one. So we'll see. And back to the last trend, which is old stuff still works in new clothes. So this is the all-in-all game from OMA, which is basically whole IO on the level-based progression. So instead of a PvP loop that whole IO had, where you have 7, 10 players, mostly bots, that you were eating around during you eating the environment and then eating them. This is actually done on level-based progression with boosters, with royal match, kind of live ops meta systems. You have these kind of slowly unlocking and triggering as you progress to the level-based stuff. You have very clear monetization through boosters there, because suddenly you have time there, so there's a clear fail state instead of you getting killed by other people. So again, outstanding move. I was talking about this literally half of last year, when will we do all IO hybrid state, and it seems there were too late. Let's see. Then we have Archero 2 in soft launch, which is again another returning star on Hobby Portfolio. This was soft launch September, but actually this was soft launch in June, because it was called Destiny's Arrow, and Hobby renamed it just this month. So yeah, that's why we haven't been talking about it. It seems very familiar. I don't see anything like super new or drastically different. Wasn't able to get my hands on APK, but I guess we'll get it as soon as possible. It's interesting always with Hobby that they have like 2 or 3 games that are launching in the same period. Like for instance, nobody probably knows that Kinja Run launched like a week before Survivor IO, because everybody just knows about Survivor IO, but that's their way of doing games. So yeah, this is also returning. And then we have Octopus Feast from Rolik, which is again a clear iteration on Alien Invasion. So we'll see how that one fares well. This loop is also being explored by Multicast Gaming itself in a fishing version of Alien Invasion that they're currently running on their portfolio. It's Idle Fisherman Tycoon or something, I don't know. But yeah, this loop hasn't been copied yet. to a very successful degree, the one where you just stand around and stuff dies around you and sometimes it attacks you. We'll see. But the power progression is very solid. Alien Invasion is only one of the few games that are actually, as I heard, doing 50-50, meaning 50% IP revenue, 50% ad revenue. So my guess is that we'll soon see another game that will be taking this loop as the core. Maybe with different progression, maybe this one will work, which is basically Alien Invasion, but we'll see. So looking into the future and summarizing what I've said here, taking proven trends from Steam is even more important now than in hybrid casual era. Because in hybrid casual, again, the time to market was like 4 weeks, 5 weeks. You can iterate super fast. With hybrids, it's like 2 or 3 months if you're super fast. So we want to diminish the risk of doing something, even if it's unique, completely wrong, and you would rather pick something that's already working mostly. Whole.io, by the way, was also based on this. It was based on the trailer of Donut Country, a Steam game that didn't even release, and you see the revenue that it did. So checking Steam trends and Steam stuff is still worth it. Old concepts still work with the right amount of iteration. This is basically a reference to the thing that I was saying again last year, that companies that have full portfolios of successful hyper-casual games can turn them into hybrid. Like you see with the all-in-all that Oma did, even though it was not even on the portfolio. We see that all the time. Mob Control was basically done by Control, successful hyper-casual game. Now it's a very big hybrid movie portfolio. We see it in Paper.io, again, sitting in movie portfolio. So people not only need to create hybrids from the scratch, but sometimes you can salvage a very great high engagement core gameplay and just add the right progression to it. Sometimes it's a little bit irregular or like the one surprising one, because I wasn't really expecting Whole.io to have like level-based progression, but it seems to work out. The game's making millions, so why not? Last thing is, metagame is becoming the core gameplay itself. This is a reference to Capybara Go, where you've seen like the gameplay was literally nothing. It was you pushed 1 or 2 buttons, and the most of the game was, or the player time, player session, was around you going around the metagame progression, picking rewards, upgrading stuff, having 1 or 2 choices, but basically it's just illusion of choice. There's no choice really. So you're just playing the gacha spin machine. It gives you stuff and you decide which one you upgrade, but in the end you upgrade all of them mostly. So that's there, and it's getting stronger and stronger. Again, it will depend heavily if Capybara Go is successful, but my guess is that guys literally are looking at Monopoly Go, as Monopoly Go works exactly on the same thing where you're just pressing a button and stuff happens, not really core gameplay involved. So we'll probably see more of this on hybrids, as Monopoly Go is super successful with this, so why we shouldn't. Yeah, thank you for your attention. Here's our Slack channel, it's open for everyone, and there's my link if you need one. Thank you.